Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So I wanted to talk about the reports that Meghan sent a letter to the now King Charles about racism in the royal family. Well, unconscious bias. So it was reported in the Telegraph that Meghan allegedly shared her concerns about unconscious bias around the time of the Oprah interview. Now, this is the thing. When people use terms such as unconscious bias or microaggressions, that sort of terminology, from my experience, it's usually because they don't want to come out and accuse somebody of racism because they don't actually have any evidence of that. But they still want the person to be seen as a racist and basically get blamed for racism without any evidence, without any way of proving that they're a racist, without any receipts. So people hide behind terms such as unconscious bias. And I think in particular, Meghan and Harry, because before they were pretty happy putting it out there that the royal family are racist, especially on Oprah. She said that there were concerns and conversations about how dark the baby skin color was going to be. That's racism. But now they're backtracking. Harry in particular, he's the one who's speaking on behalf of Meghan, basically said that they never accused the royal family of racism, more so unconscious bias. Again, hiding behind a terminology that gets people blamed for racism without actually saying that they're racist. So you can still say, I never accused you of racism. You can still make that claim, but you still want them to be thrown under the bus like you would somebody who was guilty of racism. You'd want them to be held accountable. So this way, they can still hold on to their main, threat, their biggest threat to the royal family, which is to accuse them of racism. The whole Oprah interview was basically making that accusation. And now you want to backtrack. Meghan, again, made that accusation on the Oprah interview, saying that Archie wasn't given a title. And it was a safe assumption to make that it was because of his skin color, even though he's whiter than the other royal babies. But anyway, that was a safe assumption to make, Meghan said. Basically saying that they don't want their, only biracial kid in the family having a prince title. And what is he now? Prince Archie. In America. Funny that. But she was perfectly happy to let it be put out there that they don't want him to be prince because they're racist. So now, apparently, around that time, she wrote a letter to King Charles, well, at the time, the Prince of Wales, because of unconscious bias. How convenient. So I'm just going to read a bit from People. Meghan Markle sent a letter expressing her concerns over unconscious bias within the royal family to her father-in-law, King Charles, according to a new report. Now, let me tell you something. Nobody started using such terminology, from my observations, until the whole BLM, movement. Back in 2011, people weren't saying unconscious bias and all of this kind of thing. Well, definitely not in the UK, from my experience. It's now that everything is racist. Everybody wants to accuse everyone of being racist every 5 minutes. That you can't actually produce proof and evidence of this, so you're going to hide behind terms. This is what I don't like: microaggressions, unconscious bias. So it's a euphemism of the word racism, but you can still hide your hands and say, I didn't throw any stones. I didn't accuse anybody of being racist. The letter was reportedly sent soon after Prince Harry and Meghan's interview with Oprah Winfrey in 2021 that unveiled allegations that there were concerns and conversations about how dark Archie's skin might be when he's born, reports the Telegraph. Meghan's correspondence was allegedly sent in response to a letter she received from King Charles, who was then known as the Prince of Wales, in which he expressed his sadness over tension within the family. Charles is believed to be the only senior royal to have made contact with Meghan following the Oprah interview, according to the report. So, the Prince of Wales at the time was thinking, I've got to do something about this. Let me write a letter. You know how formal, the royal family can be. Let me write a letter. And, his mother is very elderly, sick. Prince Philip was on his deathbed, and that didn't stop them from going on Oprah and making all these allegations. But they did come forward and say, we're not talking about the Queen and Prince Philip. So we don't want to throw them under the bus because they're elderly. We don't want to look that bad. But we're okay to throw the rest of the family under the bus. William, Catherine, Sophie, Edward, whoever. Let's just throw them all under the bus. So we're happy about that, but don't throw, the elderly Queen and Prince Philip under the bus. No, we're not that bad. We're not that cruel. Several new details emerged in the Telegraph report, including that the letters name the member of the family who allegedly made the remarks about Archie's skin, and that Meghan and King Charles agrees the comment was said with no malice intended. Oh, there you go. How convenient. So you take something that happens in every family in America and in the UK when there's a new baby on the way, whether black, white, Asian, biracial, and you discuss what the baby is going to look like. Is the baby going to look like mummy? Is the baby going to look like daddy, grandma? Is the baby going to have your skin tone? Is the baby going to be darker, lighter, big ears, big eyes, whatever? Is the baby going to have, my mum has a gap in her tooth. I have the same thing. Did they know that I was going to get the same gap? No. Did they discuss it? Probably. That's a discussion that it's got nothing to do with being concerned about how dark a baby is going to be. It's a discussion about what the baby is going to look like. And she knew that, but she used that to go on Oprah and make these allegations. And the thing I see about Meghan and Harry is they take a little bit of truth and use that to justify a lie. So technically, in their head, they're not lying. Oprah didn't display, journalistic integrity during that interview because Harry came out and said one thing and Meghan came out and said another, and she never clarified. Harry said it was while they were dating, way before they were even expecting, and Meghan said it was while she was pregnant. Oprah didn't ask them for clarification. She didn't challenge them on that. And now here we are 2-3 years later, and they're still using it to score points. They've used it to get like 2 awards now, NAACP award, Kennedy award. They've used it to push themselves as, social justice warriors, when all they did was basically go on Oprah and cry about not getting titles, even though they wanted to be linked and not ranked. They went on Oprah, cried about not getting titles for their children, and cried about a conversation about what their baby was going to look like. Absolutely ridiculous. Now, do I believe the Telegraph got this story out of nowhere? No. I believe it's likely that it came from the Sussexes themselves. Just like this statement that Omid, her spokesperson, released came directly from Meghan, where she's now saying the Duchess of Sussex is living her best life and isn't concerned about the royals. Well, something to that effect. The Duchess of Sussex is going about her life in the present, not thinking about correspondence from 2 years ago, related to conversations from 4 years ago. Any suggestion otherwise is false and, frankly, ridiculous. We encourage tabloid media and various royal correspondents to stop the exhausting circus that they alone are creating, a spokesperson for the Duchess of Sussex told People. Yeah, the circus that Meghan has been creating from day one with leaking stories about herself. The circus that was created by her PR company, Sunshine Sachs, at the time, leaking stories every 5 minutes to overshadow what the royals were doing. So again, leading up to the coronation now, another story is leaked about some letter that nobody cares about. But she's living her best life while holding on to the only claim to fame they have, being members of the royal family.
And that's, once again, allegations of ongoing systemic bias and racism from Meghan Markle against the royal family. What's it about this time, Charles?
This is an excellent and an amazing story by the Daily Telegraph, who have uncovered a couple of letters that were sent, the King, the then Prince of Wales, sent to Meghan after the Oprah Winfrey controversial interview, and to which she replied. Now, if you remember, the centre point of that interview was the fact that she said that a senior member of the royal family had speculated about the colour of her unborn son's skin, and everybody went into meltdown and everything else. But Charles was so upset with the allegations that she made in this that he took it upon himself, the only member of the royal family to do so, and I suspect that's because, as the then senior royal, just under the Queen, he felt it right to, he makes a a response to Meghan, and he expressed his sadness in that letter of the chasm that had emerged between the two sides.
Oh yeah, another thing. If they agreed in a letter that there was no malice behind the comment, why not just name the person then? Why drag it on for years to let everybody think that this person was a racist, an evil person who went after an unborn child? Hey, why drag it on and string everybody along with this story? Name the person then if there was no malice behind it, according to the letter. Why not retract what you said on Oprah, where you inferred that there was racism? Why accept awards for fighting structural racism in the royal family? Why accept an NAACP award, which again alluded to you fighting racism in the royal family? Because it was basically for working social justice, which all you did was make a speech on Zoom where you made up stuff, according to your father, saying that there was ash falling from the sky. But your dad said that he got you out of LA during the riots, and you went on Oprah. I don't really see where the social justice work has been done, either in the UK or in the US. I've not seen a track record of that.
And now the interesting part in all this as well is that in the exchange of letters, it is understood that both the King and the Duchess acknowledged that the individual's remark, who was named in the letter, by the way, and we still don't know who it is, the remark was not made out of malice. Now, if Meghan believed it wasn't made out of malice, then why on earth did she go on an international interview to suggest of racism, or as she refers to it as unconscious bias? But it's racism by any other name in the royal family and subsequently in the country itself. Mm-hmm. I just think Harry and Meghan now seem to be hell-bent on being some sort of permanent fixture in trying to take the gloss away from this coronation that is going to happen on May the 6th. Harry's going to be there, she's not going to be there, and that's been given as another reason that she's not coming, because of this row over unconscious bias, and not just because on the day it's Archie's 4th birthday. And
with her recent statement, she did say, that's not the reason why she isn't coming. She's not coming because she's living her best life and she don't need no coronation. She's better than the coronation. She's got other things to be doing, better things to be doing. As we see so many times, whenever the royal family have something going on, Meghan and Harry do something to take the shine away. It's ridiculous. It's very, very petty.
Yeah, you're absolutely right there, Charles, that it was made without malice. And isn't it fair to say that every parent kind of hypothesises about the tone of somebody's skin or the colour of their hair, the colour of their eyes? This is an absolutely normal thing that every parent on the planet does. And it was done in the instance of the royal child, Archie. She herself said it was done without malice. So why the hell did this become such a global talking point about institutional racism in the royal family?
When she raised that point, she was using malice to raise that point. She was trying to cause problems for the royal family. Now, this is a woman who, not just this one, she shoots from the lip all the time without thinking what she's saying. And if you remember, in the same interview, she claimed that she got married 3 days beforehand, the royal wedding, which wasn't, it was just a rehearsal. All these sort of things come out of her mouth and she just doesn't think about it. The other thing was, Archie and Lilibet are going to be deprived of being a prince and princess. Well, that's absolute rubbish. They are now a prince and princess. And that's not just something that's been done. That's in the sort of, if you like, the royal protocol rule book, that grandchildren of the monarch get those titles.
And they knew that at the time. She even quoted it. But yet she was happy to sit back and let Oprah think and the rest of the world think that it's because Archie has some African heritage. And like he said, the malice has come from them. Everything that the royal family have done, she's in that example, they admitted there was no malice, but the malice that is present is from Meghan and Harry. You took something that was innocent and used it to accuse them of racism. No wonder you didn't name the person, because you were basically accusing them of something so heinous, being, racist towards an unborn child. Even before the child is here, the kid don't stand a chance being born into such a racist institution. That's the impression you left. You were happy to leave that impression. And then again, another example they gave, taking the wedding rehearsal and saying you got married 3 days before. That was a big slap in the face to the British people who paid, what was it, 30 million? Taxpayers' money, 30 million pounds. A huge slap in the face, and calling it a spectacle. When people came out in good faith, they watched it on TV, or they came out to see you go by for 2 seconds. People camped out, and a lot of the people who camped out, let's be real, the majority of them were white. People who camp out overnight so they get a good spot. Then you basically imply that the British people are racist. When all those people came out to celebrate your marriage in good faith, and then you're like, oh, well, it was just a spectacle. The real wedding happened 3 days before, just to be spiteful. And again, you take a little bit of truth and you use it to make some whole lie. Saying that you got married 3 days before. No marriage certificate to prove that, though. Your marriage certificate is the day of the royal wedding. Funny that.
They've got the titles. I don't understand what this couple want anymore. I really am at a loss to understand what it is that they want.
OK, Charles, we must remember, of course, that Meghan isn't here to defend herself. And let's not do a Dominic Raab. We can't bully her too much. She only go crying about it, just like the civil service, no doubt. Charles, it's always a pleasure and never a chore. Now, and of course, he denies those bullying allegations too. But in a word, do you think she'll be missed at the coronation?
In a word, no. I don't think she'll be missed at all.
I might actually watch it now, because I can't stand the spectacle, when they attend these events, and I wasn't going to watch it. But now I think I'll probably watch it. And, it's going to be an historical event, and even better that she's not going to be there. So let me know what you think. What do you think of the letter? Do you think it shows that there was never any malice, there was never any racism? And I don't really know why they leaked it to begin with, or they're speaking about it to begin with, to be honest. So share your thoughts below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.